She acted as though she'd never seen a person's demon before.
You're never alone. You always have this companion for life who is every other facet of you.
Look, Pam. It says I mustn't let Mrs. Coulter get hold of it, or we'll all die.
Everybody has this animal, a demon, which represents their inner person, who they are.
People can talk with their demons.
Check. Now by 2009, for some reason rhyme had declined. Simple Simon lines every time. Blind leading the deaf and dumb behind the wiggling tail of some carrots attached to a vine. Jackass donkey, sagas a simian, judge not lest you of those opinions. I am a god and I know that well. No matter how many ways they feed me ghosts in this shell, I can go straight to hell where my demon dwells. Summon it at will, maybe cast a spell. No, I don't use slogans and avoid much stupidness. Similes I was done with in grade 6. Look at this state of hip-hop now. Dr. Zeus would be ashamed, you fucking clowns and lanes. But everybody grows at their own pace, right? Of those opinions, put down the mic. This is grown man dialogue, not moon, zoom, spatoon, baboon, rat, mad cat. Stop being super cool. Your limerick styles is for mini dicks while you're taking a very long time to graduate from a child. I have a 12-year-old and 17-year-old who create more complex word strings than 92% of all of you claiming to be the true MC. Please, get up off your knees. Your slobbering style is not gonna appease the tormented deities that inhabit me. No relent, no remorse. Similar to when a piece of course is crossed by some horse supreme force. Accompanied by loss of your Ross clots and your blouse and skirt. With minimal work, all your so to get murked. And I leave the corpse rotting, stinking in the dirt, nasty in the mud. Where the pigs is chillin', thought I was a villain. Of your opinion, how many times you go bring me to your minions and try to tempt this god with foul chicken? For the last time, bring me to your master, so I can fracture every last factor that had our brains splattered and had our minds shattered. All at the request of some bastard. Who, me? Nah, I'm not the so, but you can call me quick, cause I and I fast so out of place. I make a home in outer space, and I spit into your dish of spilled milk and sour grapes. If that's what it takes to make your trivia evaporate. You build it up, I smash the gate. I militant, you masturbate. I masturbate, you have to wait for some white-bearded crotchety freckle face to open up the pearly gate. But I smashed that. Remember a couple lines ago? Time to go. Oops, what's that? Can't find your hoe? Sorry, bro. That's just how it goes. Right now she's busy polishing some totem poles. If you can't tell who it is that we be, it's the ALMOROC, stepping up in the place ambassadorially. 2 on the right, in the middle is me. Got 5 on the left, to the ground is 3. Those who have the eyes can clearly see that. What? It's the Moors for sure, and you can't touch the shores unless you down. Do a treaty with us, and we entreat that you trust and respect our boundaries and our legacies. Can't get the best of me with the strongest mental telepathy. Phone book, fiat, fantasy, or recipes. Wisdom and supreme mathematics is protecting me. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. S on my chest, about to take flight. Signal in the stress, something don't seem right. I'm trying to find a phone booth, but not in sight. Trying to get the whole truth, but it's a fight. Drew Ali told you, but still despite. Renew the old you, you'll be alright. You'll be alright. You'll be alright.
I get knowledge I got. My mind spray a lot for my armor rock. Lyrics cryptic, I'm Moroccan mystic. Use rhymes at times and lighten a dimwit. When I'm Moroccan's flow, you trying to swim with. Hang rappers by laces, they tie their Timbs with. This ain't that fruity rap, we catch him in booby traps, coughing up a lung cause my fam got hung.
5 on the left, 2 on the right. S on my chest, about to take flight. Signal of distress, something don't seem right. I'm trying to find a phone booth, but not in sight. Trying to get the whole truth, but it's a fight. Drew Ali told you, but still despite. Renew the old you, you'll be alright. You'll be alright. You'll be alright.
We are the ancient, returned on mics and beats, on ancestral realms and streets. Words sound power, shower, watering minds with jade lines and amethyst rhymes. Tiger eyes glow, scimitar showing, crystal reflections for added protections. 5 on the left, 2 on the right, lyrical bread and fish fed through the mic.
I tip your scales with vibrational levels. With this man, severing your tempo. Moving, living backwards, spamming in pebbles. People trying to survive, call us criminals. Why did my first eye surrounded by devils? Wanna try and infiltrate inside my mentals, but ministry of propaganda and its scandals. Be the fucking rascal, camouflage charcoal. Heavy rotisserie, heavy arsenal.
5 on the left, 2 on the right. S on my chest, about to take flight. Signal of distress, something don't seem right. I'm trying to find a phone booth, but not in sight. Trying to get the whole truth, but it's a fight. Drew Ali told you, but still despite. Renew the old you, you'll be alright. You'll be alright. You'll be alright.
Check it. Knew from the first that I met her. Thirsty in the worst way, wanted to get her. Open like a ladder, I'm open, not distressing. No pressure, but I wanna lay her out like a stretcher. Knew she couldn't handle 16, so I hit her with 8 first to give her a taste first. Cat and mouse game, yeah, she gave up the chase first. So I booked the room and I laid her down face first. She liked the kinky, so I spit on her. Wanted to keep it to myself, she wanted other dudes to get on her. I tried my best to put a hit on her, but she fell in love with crap rap. All they do is shit on her. Thought I knew her well, so but wait a second. Knew her well before she ever even made a record. She's a thot now, so I gotta pay to check it. But I'm still digging mommy like a crate of records.
5 on the left, 2 on the right. S on my chest, about to take flight. Signal of distress, something don't seem right. I'm trying to find a phone booth, but not in sight. Trying to get the whole truth, but it's a fight. Drew Ali told you, but still despite. Renew the old you, you'll be alright. You'll be alright. You'll be alright.
Wisdom of the Womb. WillOfAllah.com. Peace to all the Moors worldwide. Some books came in the mail. So, taking in this psychological warfare, Neil Morton. Psychological warfare, Neil Morton. The ultimate guide to understanding human behavior, brainwashing, propaganda, deception, negotiation, dark psychology, and manipulation. What is psychological warfare? Psychological warfare is known by a variety of names: psy-war, political warfare, hearts and minds, psyop, and propaganda, to name a few. While most people are aware of the emergence of psy-war in the Second World War, it has much older origins and can be traced back as far as mankind itself. Psychological warfare is the use of non-combat techniques to mislead and intimidate opponents and influence their psychological makeup. These techniques employed are designed to target thoughts, emotions, and attitudes with propaganda and threatens to influence a person's actions. Propaganda is not a threatening concept when used alone. Daniel Lerner wrote about the theory of black, white, and gray propaganda in his 1949 book, Sky War, Psychological Warfare Against Germany, D-Day, and VE Day. Right? White propaganda. This defines the use of truthful information with a moderate bias to influence opponents. In the Second World War, this included millions of leaflets being dropped from planes over friendly and enemy territory. The leaflets stated their source and contained information designed to encourage support and contributions from the target audience. So, white propaganda. This defines the use of truthful information with a moderate bias to influence opponents. The opponent is your dumbass because you want to be Negro, black, and colored. But this is how they do it. Remember, this is white propaganda, right? This is the first of the three kinds of propaganda from Daniel Lerner in 1949. So since 49, they already know. And you're seeing all these things play out. 1984, and it's playing out today. You're seeing all this stuff playing out in front of your face. And again, we just study, just stick our head out from behind the veil, and we'll see what the hell's going on out here. And we're going back about our business. White propaganda.
Hello and welcome to A Bit Too Much to Think. Today is the 4th episode in a series about sovereign citizens. And if you're not familiar with sovereign citizens, they're essentially a group of people that pick and choose which laws to follow, and that way they subvert certain laws that they don't like. A very common one is that they drive without a license, and they say that they're traveling, not driving, because they believe that driving only is used commercially. Obviously that's untrue, but basically I go over a lot of the things that sovereign citizens believe, and I prove why it's actually wrong in this series. So this episode is on Moorish sovereign citizens. It's really weird, bear with me, there's a lot that goes into it. So
the white propaganda is the use of truthful information with a moderate bias to influence. So you go online thinking you're going to go find out something about Moors, because you just figure you can get this from any source, because this is just some general information that I want to know about Moors, so I'm going to go anywhere. If you want to know about carpentry, you talk to a carpenter. If you want to know about the car or whatever, you talk to a mechanic. If you want to know about military, whatever, you talk to a veteran. But to find out about Moors, you talk to anybody. You just listen to anybody. Because this thing Moor, and me being a Moor, is some generic thing, not specific. When you take this general idea, wanting to know what this information is about, what you end up doing is falling for the psychological warfare. And the purpose of the psychological warfare is to have you not make it to the destination. They don't care where you end up. Once you don't make it to that destination, that this is about your nationality and birthrights and your existence of existence in, around, through this realm, this third dimensional realm, is love with everything. It's the only way you're going to make it through. Anything else, you're done for. So, Noble Drew Ali is the founder of Learn to Love Instead of Hate. Ain't nobody else talked about that other than him. And the only people who talked about it other than him were the people before him who they call prophets. Love is all. So he presented this idea, and that's supposed to save the nations. Nations didn't hear what he said. Now, here you are now, dealing with psychological warfare. Because that was the only other option, if you didn't go the direction that he went. If you didn't take what he brought and apply that to your life, you're done for. So the idea of the people who are quote-unquote in control, everything they're doing is to get you away from your nationality and your birthrights. And if we're dealing with the specifics of it, we're looking at, one, people who throw Moorish into sovereign citizen discussions when they don't go together, which is the concept of white propaganda that they're going to use truthful information. Moors is truthful information. Sovereign citizen is a bias. That's not information. Sovereign citizens is not factual. It's propaganda. It was created. There's no such thing as that. So as soon as you hear more sovereign citizens, know that there's some truth there and there's falsehood there. And then Noble Drew Ali told them, well, the truth and falsehood strangely mixed. But you don't understand what Noble Drew Ali said, because he's, black guys, crystals, and, he's a circus clown. So forget Noble Drew Ali. But then these people are using the tactics that Noble Drew Ali told you that they're going to use in the 1900s. He told you. They're using that on you today. And you're falling for it, because we're watching it right now, real time. Remember, we're just sticking out from the veil. We give a shit about Instagram and YouTube and whatever. That's just sticking out from the veil. Because off of this thing, the life is happening. Off of this thing, people are, being attacked due to psychological warfare. Because the theme of the Moorish paradigm is not the same as it was in 2008 when we came into this. When we came into this in 2008, nobody was messing with Moors. No one. More so because they have no reason to. We weren't kidnapping Moorish children just because they feel like kicking Moorish doors just because they feel like it. They weren't doing that stuff in 2008. The psychological warfare was still on, but the Moors had it mastered. They weren't budging Moors. Now they put up some little video of budge Moors. You don't want to even be Moors anymore because they saw some video, which again was the propaganda. Because throughout the theme of the black, the gray, and the white propaganda, truth has to be there. So the idea is for the propagandists to manipulate the mind into avoiding the truth so that it will focus on the falsehood. And once you're in the falsehood jurisdiction, once you're in the jurisdiction of fraud, then there's no statute of limitations. And you can't blame anybody, not even the devil, because you're the one who went there when you should have known better. And if you were studying, you would have known better. But you weren't studying. You wanted to drink Patron and all that. You didn't take this stuff serious. Thought the conscious people didn't know what they were talking about. Now, they're telling you can't whatever unless you get jabbed. Which is the same stuff that Moors been telling our people. Certain Europeans been telling our people, concentration camps and all that stuff. They didn't hear nothing that we're saying. Now they're in it. Now they're running like a chicken with their head cut off, trying to be conscious. making their situation worse because of the white propaganda. That's going to have you go down every single road until the end to realize that wasn't the way. And then you got to turn around and go back the way that you just came, wasting time now to do that. When you should have just stuck with what Noble Drew Ali told you in the 1900s. You wouldn't be having problems right now. So we're here to analyze your problems for you. We're your psychologists, the Moors. Sure to help you get back to your common sense and your reasoning mind. Because you're not looking at things correctly. You're looking at things cross-eyed, talking about you could see something. Your eyes are crossed. What do you mean you see something? What are you seeing? By your nose bridge. Stop this. Penetrate where we're coming from. Because there's a majority of Moors putting out info. Honors all the Moors out there who's just putting this out. You know what I mean? Instead of putting out dick pics and asses and whatever like that, put out some information on these people. They get enough asses and whatever. You know, we don't need that from Moors. We got enough BS stuff out there for them. Honors to all the Moors putting out something worth posting. So remember, the white propaganda, use of truthful information with a moderate bias.
The first thing, what are Moors historically? So the definition shifted a lot, and it's kind of frustrating. But originally, Moor referred to the Berbers, which are an ethnic group indigenous mostly to North Africa. The definition then shifted to mean Arab, Muslim, and African individuals who lived in the Middle Ages in Spain, Italy, and other places around the Mediterranean. Now, this is mostly the definition we use today, primarily, or at least in the US it is, primarily because Othello is a Moor and Shakespeare's Othello, and that's really the only place that we have it in common society, because most people have had to read Othello in high school or in college. So in Europe, though, it can mean just any person with darker skin, but the problem is that Moor translates differently into different languages, and it gives different meanings. So depending on which language you're looking at, which there's a lot in Europe that they use, you're getting a different definition. In the book Moorish Spain by Richard Fletcher, he describes kind of the beginnings of this, and in 711 AD, where a Berber army under Arab leadership crossed from Morocco into Spain and conquered it. This, according to the author, is the start of what he calls Moorish Spain. He then further uses the term Islamic Spain to describe the country, so it's weird. Basically, this is the summing up of what it means to be a Moor. It's a poorly defined ethnic group with the unifying theme tending to be African or Middle Eastern descent, tending to be Islamic, though not always, tending to be in Europe, primarily the Iberian Peninsula, though not always. I use the term tending a ton there because the definition is so loose you can't exactly say what it is, but it's a good baseline. So we know what a Moor is, but what are the Moorish sovereign citizens? Basically, they're just sovereign citizens that give different reasons than most other sovereign citizens for breaking the law. So, according to the Washington Post, people claiming to be Moorish sovereign citizens will break into an unoccupied home and claim that it is their birthright, because a lot of Moorish people believe that black people lived in America before the Europeans came to the continent. Therefore, mortgages are not valid in local law.
So at this part, by the time you get to 3 minutes in, you don't even know if you're coming or going. 3 minutes in, they already have you completely out in the middle of the ocean with sharks swimming around you. Because you talk about, you're going to listen to them and paddle going toward the sunset. Just paddling. You don't even know where you're going, but you're paddling. This is white propaganda. They throw in the thing there about the Moors, historical Moors and all this stuff. but they're really moving toward their bias, because they're attempting to prove the fraudulent idea of Moors being in the Americas. Why? Because the majority of these people talking crazy about Moors, they're not American. They're modern European. And if they're a modern European, then that means that they're a colonist if they're in America. Why are they here other than to colonize? No, well, we're good-hearted people and we built this for the black guys, and we don't care if you did that or not. We don't care if you did that or not. We know for a fact that Europeans aren't Americans. So if Europeans aren't Americans, they're not Aboriginal and Indigenous here. Right? This is the propaganda that you're going to run into. Because the idea is to keep you away from the Moorish paradigm. Right? So this is the white propaganda.
Do not apply to them. From the same Washington Post article, they point out that the name comes from the Moorish Science Temple of America, which was a religion formed in the early 1900s, and according to the article, doesn't preach all this garbage that the Moorish sovereign citizens believe. So I searched for the Moorish Science
Temple. So again, Moorish Science Temple is a religious corporation. Moorish Science Temple is not a people. There's no people on the planet called Moorish Science Temple. And the people who were members of the Moorish Science Temple, they weren't Moorish sovereign citizens. They are not Moorish sovereign citizens. They're Moorish Americans, but Moorish Americans are not Moorish sovereign citizens. And we know that this is propaganda. This is not the actual what it is. This is somebody who's taking Moorish, which has historical, metaphysical, and all these other different contexts, and looping it with something else that has absolutely nothing to do with it in order to keep you away from it. Because you would be thinking that it's something that it's not. Peace, more.
Peace. It just gets me upset when people mess with our birthright, like as if we're the only people on the planet that don't deserve to have a nationality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're literally the only people suffering from this lost identity. And there's agents out there that perpetrate that. And then there's people out there that just believe the information and just parrot what the agents are saying.
Yeah.
And they're not even, and those people, I'm not talking about the agents, they're not even aware of what they're doing. They're just doing it.
They're just doing it.
Like, you have to be a special kind of stupid. Right? So I just want to show this real fast.
Yeah.
You can literally Google search HR 1203 from the state of Georgia. You see right here it says legis.ga.gov. So this is from a quote unquote government website. If you click on that, my computer is real slow, but don't even worry about it. You see where it was introduced to the floor. Oh, I think they changed it actually. This is something different. Clicked on the wrong one. Oops. Here it is right here. This one right here. Clicked on the wrong one. This is the full text. House Resolution 1203, introduced by Representative Thomas Mabel. They call her Abel Mabel. And you'll see where it talks about everything Noble Drew Ali talked about as far as us coming here to the present continental Americas. And then it talks about us learning that we're not Negro, Black, and colored people or Afros. And then it states that the Moors, that the indigenous Moorish people of the Americas are now united to link themselves with the family of nations. Right, so it says the indigenous Moorish peoples of the Americas. So how could the word Moor be derived from the Moorish Science Temple of America, which was incorporated in 1925, but the state of Georgia, which consists of about 10 million people, is specifying that Moors are indigenous to the Americas? Then it also continues to say that Moors are aboriginal to the territories of North, South, and Central America, and that we have our own government. And then they recognize Noble Drew Ali as a prophet.
And that's not Moors talking.
Nope. This is from the state of Georgia. And then he even continues to say that slavery was abolished and we were set free because of the 13th Amendment. It don't say blacks were set free. It said Moors were set free. All right, so literally what they've done is they confine, or at least they've tried to confine. They try to confine our history to the Iberian Peninsula, and then they try to confine our empire to like east of Egypt, or sometimes they'll include Egypt, to like modern day Palestine, and then Al-Andalus, and then that's it. As if it wasn't from Egypt, of what we call Africa today, to the Americas and all the islands, including Hawaii, including the so-called Caribbean islands. And the word Algiers means the islands. And if you look up modern day Algiers or modern day Algeria, 99% of the landmass called Algiers is landlocked on the continent of Africa. So clearly that that name didn't originally belong to that territory. And then if you just Google search, literally 1 year before the Prophet was born, during the Berlin Conference, that's when the Europeans decided to create all those 54 so-called nation states in Africa today. So even that is a lie. You know what I mean? So when people don't cross-reference their own prophet who told you to study, then you're going to fall for the bullshit traps of these Europeans and these European sympathizers who promote the European Inquisition against our very own people to keep us denationalized so that we will never, ever go anywhere as a people ever. Like there's you. And in the history of competent Moors, no competent Moor has ever said, I am a sovereign citizen.
Never.
No one says that. You'll only see that in like the incompetent USAR papers when they try to file claims. You see that in the Marrakesh Society. You only get that from Moors that don't know what they're talking about.
Oh, here's one that doesn't know. Here's one.
You should go watch. Vega gives context to the video and has extra footage. This video was originally uploaded by Virgo Triad. This will only be a section of the whole video Virgo uploaded. I'll put a link in the description to the original. You should go watch. Virgo gives context to the video and has extra footage. This seems to have been recorded on a potato phone. I've removed the video footage, cleaned up the audio and added subtitles. The video took a long time to make. You can imagine listening to this Moorish lady over and over almost melted my brain. Enjoy.
Right. So she comes up and she talks about, I'm a sovereign citizen. I intend to reserve all my inalienable, unalienable rights. That's what we mean by incompetent people talking. Incompetent people shouldn't be talking. They shouldn't be talking, because incompetent people are going to talk and then they're going to get used as the standard for what it is to be competent, when that's a fiction. Nobody can say I am sovereign. I am a sovereign citizen. No one could say that. Anybody saying that is a fraud, which is why they have this 14-minute, 18-minute video of this Asiatic going to court saying they're sovereign citizen. They get railroaded, and now they're using that as their white propaganda, because she is a Moor. She is Moorish. Guy even identified her as Moorish in the intro. He didn't call her sovereign citizen. He said she's Moorish. All right, so if she's Moorish, then everything she says is really what it is, because she has jurisdiction. But again, if you're incompetent, you're going to use the wrong language, and get yourself in situations. Go ahead, more.
Sovereignty only exists with the nation, which is why the prophet told us to nationalize. So you can't even be a sovereign citizen according to Moorish science. Sovereignty only exists with the nation. And this is from the United States Supreme Court, well, the Court of Appeals of the United States, and they're talking about the active state doctrine, how every nation state is supposed to respect the sovereignty of every other nation state. And then they use the word sovereign. So they say every sovereign state is supposed to respect the independence of every other sovereign state. But sovereign state means sovereign people. Sovereign people means sovereign nation, not sovereign citizen. So they're gonna try to like what was that Natalie lawyer chick, right? They try to conflate arguments and conflate points, so that way you just get afraid of the word sovereignty when every nation is supposed to have their own sovereignty. Every nation is supposed to have their own independence. The word sovereignty means absolute power. So our nation is supposed to have absolute power over all of the things that we do, not over other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a standard amongst international law. And if you read this case, that's what it talks about. It's called the active state doctrine. So when in House Resolution 1203 and 0689 from the state of Georgia and the state of Illinois, respectively, they specify how Moors, I'll read it. It says, whereas the Moorish Americans are teaching their people their true nationality and divine creed, that they may become better citizens. Citizens of what? Of our own government. And know that they are not Negroes, colored folk, black people, nor Afros, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865, which is not 100 years. In this era of time, all nations are seeking peace. The indigenous Moorish peoples of the Americas are now united to link themselves with the family of nations. And whereas the Moorish Americans, being aboriginal aboriginal to the territories of North, Central, and South America, have formed a sovereign theocratic government, and guided by the command principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, through virtue of the universal right to self-determination, as well as the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, guaranteed in the Charter of the United Nations. Whereas on January 8th, 1886, Noble Drew Ali was born in the state of North Carolina and became the first patriot of his Moorish American people, and in 1912 was anointed Al-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali by the head of Egypt and holy city of Mecca to return to the United States as the last prophet and founding father of the newly risen nation of Moorish Americans. Nation of Moorish Americans. On January 15th, 1865, slavery was abolished in the United States with the congressional ratification of the 13th Amendment, and the Moorish Americans, through self-determination, are unfolding as a pure and clean nation. They are who their forefathers were yesterday. So ain't no Moor is derived from Moorish Science Temple if the state of Georgia admits that we are who our forefathers were yesterday, which supports what Prophet Noble Drew Ali said. This supports everything that Noble Drew Ali said. And then if you claim that the United States is our quote-unquote government, well, then that means you have to recognize Article 4, Section 1 of the Constitution, which specifies that full faith and credit shall be given to the United States to the public acts, records, and judicial opinions of every other state. So since this is a public a public record and a public act of the state of Georgia, you have to recognize this as being true.
And to back that up, great propaganda. This will often be anonymous and contain information that is mainly true. If there are untrue statements, it is unlikely that they can be disproven. It involves presenting legitimate arguments that are free from agenda and have undefined sources. They're telling you what Noble Drew Ali said. That's 1913. For our people, that's not a definitive source because he's modern. It's not ancient, so we're not going to go with that as it's legitimate. That's as legitimate as you could get what Noble Drew Ali said, to the point of state of Georgia backing it.
And the state of Illinois. State of Illinois.
And state of Illinois.
The entire state. You know, people talk about Rahm Emanuel's proclamation, but they don't talk about how the entire state said the same thing.
Yeah.
The entire population of the state of Illinois said the same thing. Moorish Americans are aboriginal to the territories of North, South, and Central America. We have our own government. We're a nation of people. We're indigenous. They recognize Noble Drew Ali as a prophet, El-Haj Sharif Abdul Ali. They recognize, as a result of the 13th Amendment, it says literally, as a result of the 13th Amendment, Moorish people were emancipated from slavery. It don't say black people were emancipated. It don't just say indigenous people. It says Moorish people. Why? Because it's already established that Moors are indigenous and Moors are a nation of people.
And then keep in mind as well the fraud of Moorish Americans who were traders that came in and started using the 13th Amendment to naturalize people.
Yeah, you can't naturalize your own people until their own nation.
Right. So keep in mind the same propaganda being used by your own, who know that what they're presenting is not the true and divine way that Drew Ali brought it. They know that it's not the true and divine way.
Yeah, you don't see documents like this about Farad Muhammad or Elijah Poole Bey. You don't see documents like this about them.
Yeah.
And remember, they're the ones saying we're the original Asiatic black man.
Yeah.
But you don't see documents like this talking about the original Asiatic black man, but you see it about the original Asiatic Moorish Americans.
Mm-hmm. From them, from the beasts, from the vaccine people.
When have you ever heard anyone from the Nation of Islam or anyone claiming that we're Aboriginal and Indigenous reference themselves in relation to the rights of Indigenous people? You don't hear it. Like, how is it that you're going to claim you're the original Asiatic black man, but you're not going to enforce the rights of Indigenous people? Which means you have the right to your land and resources back. You shouldn't be having to pay taxes to no colonists. They can't represent you in litigation. You have a right to voice your opinion when they're establishing legislation that may or may not affect you.
But they're going to tell you trust. They're going to sell you trust class though.
Yeah.
And they're going to send you change status class though. And they're going to tell you all these different classes. All these different classes, you could pay $500 and you could learn about the rights that you have and how to exercise your rights because of contracts and whatever. But they're not going to tell you about the UN DRIP contract. They're not going to bring that contract up. The free contract that anybody could go download and use that right now, real time. Use that right now, real time. Because it's international document that these people signed on to.
Obama signed it.
Signed on to it. And then somebody else comes after, no, well, we're not signing on to this. And then you think it doesn't apply still? Why don't they tell you about UN DRIP? Oh, matter of fact, black propaganda. Put simply, fake news. This type of propaganda can contain both true and false statements, but it will appear to be legitimately sourced. This type of propaganda is designed to be wholly believable and is distributed with the intent of subversion. The difference between gray and black propaganda is often a fine line. The most effective form of black propaganda is formed to look like it is coming from a trusted source. Often the biggest giveaway is any links to gray propaganda that are less convincing. There are many different forms of psychological warfare, but the result is just the same. The tactics employed are designed to demoralize, influence beliefs, change motives, and stir emotions. The targets of these tactics can range from the man on the street to the highest form of government, with everyone in between included. You're against psychological warfare.
So look, remember that idiot said the word Moor is derived from the Moorish Science Temple of America, right? This is etymononline.com. If you type in the word Negro and you go down, it references African American vernacular, the English language as spoken by U.S. blacks. So no one else is speaking this. Is from 1704. French, nigger, is a 16th century borrowing from Spanish, negro. Older English words were Moor and blackamoor. So now we would have to look up Old English.
Moor and Blackamoor? They didn't have any African in there? No ancient
Nope.
Egyptian, nothing like that?
Nope.
Just Moor and Blackamoor, that's
This
it.
is
Nothing
this
else,
is the
huh?
history of Old English.
Nothing else, huh? Just Moor and Blackamoor, that's it?
That's it. I'll go back to it. Older English words were Moor and Blackamoor, period.
You need more than that.
Right? And then it says Old English. So now we have to look up the timeline of Old English. So how is this from Moorish Times Temple of America created in 1925? And this is just based on what that person said. Not even connecting it to Moabite. So literally basic scratching the surface research, you can see these people are lying.
Yeah. Basic. Basic.
Let's check this out. Watch this. Watch how easy this is. Look. You can't even escape your Moorish history. Africa, Latin, Africa, Terra, African land, Libya, the Carthaginian territory. Who's the Carthaginians? Moors, excuse me. Africa is a continent. An African, a word of uncertain origin. The Latin word originally was used only in reference to the region around modern Tunisia, which is a Moorish kingdom.
Yep.
So you can't even claim to be African without claiming to be Moorish, which is why Prophet Noble Ali said the true and divine name of Africa is a Mexim. Because we ain't Africans, we're Moors.
But this is how they're gonna play you though. This is how they're gonna play you.
It's important to basically approach sovereign citizens with a zero tolerance strategy in terms of
they can do a check under their own name, or they can do a check under the sovereign's name as the secured party creditor.
What the hell does that mean?
Do database checks on both names to see if there's any result, and that would be a very effective way in them determining whether a lien has been placed or any other encumbrance filed.
Okay, sir, I'm taking a look at these documents. I'm familiar with court documents, and these are not valid.
No, it has
handwritten.
I just want people to show you exactly what I'm talking about. All you see is my place.
Anyone who holds some kind of authority or sway over a sovereign citizen can result in a difficult situation. It could be anything from being forced to license your dog, or even a question on an application for a library card that may set a sovereign citizen off and create a dangerous situation.
Sovereign contacts are not limited to law enforcement. Other government employees may also face sovereigns in their daily jobs. These government colleagues can be more vulnerable and less prepared for an encounter. They are less tactically savvy than officers, and they are also seen by sovereigns as the enemy. However, these contacts may provide valuable intelligence. For more information, there are both government and non-government resources. Non-sworn co-workers can also benefit from these resources.
This is staged.
Clearly, Sheriff's Department, Deputy Jones. Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
Officer.
Your name, sir?
Okay, pause it. Pause it.
This is Mohammed Sheikh El. Okay. Is there anyone else in the house?
Mohammed Sheikh El. Yeah. Go ahead, Moore.
This is staged. Name one person that walks out of their house in a suit.
Yo, that's
right?
what I said.
They
Left
just
the door
knocked on the
open.
door. Got a suit on and glasses. Who's wearing shades in the house?
Left the door open.
You already know Asiatics don't answer the door like that.
And of course they're gonna have to use the clickbait, right? Because
oh yeah, Rise of the Moors.
Right? They have to use the clickbait, right?
Oh, this is new. Oh yeah, they're definitely. Yo, look, they said if you talk about licensing, you're gonna get a sovereign citizen mad, right? Any grown adult, right? If I say, hey Cujo, you need permission from me to open up your refrigerator, you're gonna get mad. Because I'm disrespecting you.
I better get mad.
You know what I mean? Like, don't disrespect me in my house. So they're
In
basically
my
saying if you start telling adults that they need permission to do shit, they're gonna get mad. But they're not saying it like that. And again, we ain't fucking sovereign citizens.
Yeah.
If you have the right to the pursuit of happiness, then you don't need permission to do shit. Like permission to have a dog.
Yeah.
You don't need a permit to have a dog. It's not a privilege. But this is clearly staged, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. This is
Like,
definitely some horrible acting.
That's just crazy how staged that is.
Yeah.
And that person these people right here is why they say, well, Moore sold us out, because these Moors are selling out.
Exactly.
They're not true Moors, they're dirty Moors.
Straight selling out.
Can you just rewind it one more time? Nothing about that looks real. Nothing. It looks like a low budget. It looks like one of those low budget African films.
Yeah.
He's not even really. What are they doing?
That's not the police knock. Like, what is it?
And he was just standing at the door. Come on.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
Officer.
Your name, sir?
Muhammad Sheikh El.
Mr. Muhammad Sheikh El. Okay. Is there anyone else in the house that we need to be concerned about?
No, by myself. This is my place.
Okay. Well, we got a radio call to come out here because you've been staying here in the house,
Right.
and I believe you've been asked to
Moorish
leave.
American citizen. This is my place. I have had this place. I'm part of the Council of Moorish American Nationals, and I'm here, and this is my place.
Okay. I understand that you've been staying here, but at this point, sir, we're going to ask you to
Wait.
Actual owner.
Khalifa Media said filming from both sides. Exactly. That means the camera's inside his house, which obviously this is fucking staged. Obviously. I didn't even peep that. I just knew it was fraud from the beginning. Cops don't look through people's windows like that.
Is that just one of the African movies?
You're gonna have crazy CGI. A dinosaur's gonna walk by.
Oh my gosh. What the hell? What does it say? Look at that tassel. That tassel's horrible.
Moore says chic, not shake.
Right here.
You have paperwork?
Right here.
Okay, I'll take a look at that.
Pause it again. So wait, look. He's just sitting in his house in a suit with shades on with paperwork in his jacket. So he's just sitting at home with paperwork in his jacket, proving that he owns the house with sunglasses on.
Holy smokes. Sitting at home with the paperwork in the jacket.
With glasses on. So they're watching TV with sunglasses on. And when he opened up the door, you can tell it's dark in his house. Well, it's not even a house. It's dark on set. And he already had a camera crew inside. He said, "It's my house, and I'm a Moorish citizen, and it's my house." What? Our prophet said speak in an intelligent tone. There was nothing intelligent about that.
Nothing. Let's see if there's any more.
That I am the rightful owner. I happen to be a Moorish American citizen. I happen to be the rightful owner of this property and the consul of the United American nation. And your court has already stamped that I'm the rightful owner.
Okay, sir, I'm taking a look at these documents. I'm familiar with court documents, and these are not valid.
No, some of this is handwritten. That has your stamp of approval. All you see is my place. You know what? I even have some more back inside. I just want paper to show you exactly what I'm talking about. I have more paper, and I'll show it to you. No. I'm just gonna go right inside.
You saw that one that they pulled?
Yeah, they put a shotgun.
Yeah.
In his own property.
Yeah.
Yo, did Rami do this? I feel like Rami set this up. I think Rami was like, you know what? How did the cameraman get in his house? Rami was like, wait a minute. To really wrap this up, we have to put a shotgun in the house because no one's gonna question how they recorded in this man's house.
No. I'm just gonna go right inside.
So they're arresting him for no reason, and no one has a problem with that.
This is my place. information, badge numbers, names. Yeah, I need that information. We'll get them
Cliff
all for
Solo
you.
Production.
I'll be back. This is my place. You'll see. Come on here and have a seat, please. Watch your head.
So no one's mad that they arrested him for no reason, no due process, no probable cause, nothing.
Nothing.
Then they're gonna try to scare you because he has a shotgun on his property.
Yep.
Because
Try to
the
make it-
police didn't show up with any documentation saying that that's not his house, which you can just go to City Hall to get that.
They didn't even show up with a warrant.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Just took him.
Just took it. But no, we're not gonna talk about the corruption of them kidnapping him. We're gonna talk about the corruption of he stole a house.
Yeah, but they didn't prove that.
Propaganda.
They didn't prove that.
It's that propaganda.
Let's look at the Fourth Amendment real fast, as my computer loads real slow.
You know they do.
Look, this is from Congress, Constitution.congress.gov. So this is not Jamal's Moorish American sovereign citizen belief. This is from the Constitution. The right, they don't say privilege, right of the people. They don't say you have to be a citizen of the United States. It says the people, meaning all people, to be secure in their persons, meaning their physical bodies, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. They said we got a call over the radio.
Yeah.
So was that supported by oath or affirmation? No. Was that a warrant?
Nope.
No. Did that describe the place or person to be searched or seized? No. But you're scared because they showed a fake shotgun and a fake Moor and fake cops on a screen.
Mm-hmm.
And they took his papers.
I don't think they took it. I think they dropped him on the ground there. I think they dropped it.
Oh, okay. Well, then never mind. They didn't violate this part, but they violated the rest. They violated the rest of the amendment. Yeah, bring it back. Rewind that.
Yeah, they definitely violated. They definitely violated.
He pulls it out of his coat, right? Because all Moorish Americans sit in their house with a suit on and papers in their coats. Obviously. No warrant.
River City Sheriff's Department, Deputy Jones. Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
Officer.
Your name, sir?
Muhammad Sheikh El.
Mr. Muhammad Sheikh El. Okay. Is there anyone else in the house that we need to be concerned about?
No, by myself. This is my place.
Okay. Well, we got a radio call to come out here because you've been staying here in the
That's
house,
right. This is
and
my place.
I believe you've been
I'm a
asked to
Moorish
leave.
American citizen. This is my place. I have had this place. I'm part of the Council of the Moorish American Nationals, and I'm here. And this is my place.
Okay, I understand that you've been staying here, but at this point, sir, we're going to ask you to leave.
No. I have
You
paperwork to
stay
show.
here, that you're not the actual owner.
I have paperwork right here.
You have paperwork?
Right here.
Okay, I'll take a look at that.
And you'll see your court has already stamped on that I am the rightful owner. I happen to be a Moorish American citizen. I happen to be the rightful owner of this property and the council of the National American nation. And your court
Moorish American.
that I'm the rightful owner.
Okay, sir, I'm taking a look at these documents. I'm familiar with court documents, and these are not valid.
No,
Unfortunately, some of this is handwritten.
That has your stamp of approval. All you see is my place. You know, I even have some more back inside. I just want paper to show you exactly what I'm talking about. I have more paper, and I'll show it to you.
No.
I'm just gonna go right inside.
Oh, yeah, he put it down.
I am an actor.
Okay, so at least he didn't steal that. You know, he's just abducting a human being.
I'm gonna need your information, badge numbers, names. Yeah, I need that information.
Yeah, now they're just playing mockery now.
The whole thing's a fucking mockery. Yo, a radio call is not probable cause supported by oath or affirmation. A radio call does not particularly describe the place to be searched or person or things to be seized.
Oh, there's the countdown. Peace and love to all the wars. Hopefully you learned something. Psychological warfare. Keep your eyes open.
They're playing Rami games. Don't let them get away with it.
Keep your eyes open. Islam wars. Honors to all the mothers.
Peace.